Hi, my name's Darren and I produce and DJ under the name FreQ Nasty. Eddie's asked me to speak to you today about tinnitus. I've had tinnitus for 9 years now, and when I first got tinnitus I developed hyperacusis at the same time, which is where whenever you hear any high transient noises, like a knife being dropped onto a kitchen tile for example, it feels like a piece of hot wire being pushed into your ear. It feels so severe, those high frequencies. So I was understandably quite distressed when I developed both those things at the same time. My tinnitus sounds like 3, sometimes 4 different tones at the same time. Sometimes louder, sometimes less loud, but it's pretty much always there. The first thing I did when I found out I had tinnitus was to go to a Harley Street doctor and have my ears tested. She ran my results through the standard software. They test you with a series of tones, and she told me my hearing was normal, but that she didn't know how tinnitus was caused or what to do about it. Did she know what she was doing? How the hell should I know? I don't know anything about tinnitus. But as it turns out, neither does anyone else. You see, generally doctors would agree that the tinnitus is a problem somewhere in between the hearing apparatus and the brain. So somewhere in the internal system there, but no one's actually pinpointed where the problem is yet. So the more I speak to my other DJ and producer mates, the more I hear this common answer of, oh well, this research says this thing and it might be this, but also this research says it could be this thing as well. And no one's ever given a clear answer of how to fix the problem from what I've heard. The next thing I did was to go and have some earplugs made. So I went to a company called Alassen and had some earplugs that were molded to the shape of my ears, which meant they kept the maximum amount of noise out of my hearing system, which didn't really help with the tinnitus so much, but it really helped with the hyperacusis. It meant that I could go back to bars, it meant that I could go back to clubs, it meant that I could DJ again without worrying about making the hyperacusis worse and possibly making the tinnitus worse. Whether blocking those frequencies helps with the tinnitus, I don't know. I wore them whenever I went into a club or a bar or any environment where there was loud music playing. And by loud I mean above the volume of talking. So it was a change in lifestyle at that point. But because of the severity of the hyperacusis, I didn't really have a choice if I wanted to keep DJing. The way that I ended up solving the problem was retraining my mind what to listen to. I figured that if no one had any answers to how to get rid of tinnitus, then I had to work with what I had, which was the noises in my hearing and the way that I'm hearing them. So at any given time we're hearing a whole bunch of different things in the audio spectrum, and our brain is filtering out a certain amount of them, so some are let in and some are blocked out. And I figured that if you can retrain your mind as to what to listen to, you could get rid of the problem, or at least lessen it significantly. So I learned to train my mind to put the tinnitus into my peripheral hearing instead of making it the main focus of my attention. One of the ways that I learned to do this is by realizing that stress is a big factor with tinnitus, that when I'm stressed the noises come on louder, and that makes me more stressed, and you end up with this negative spiral in which you're making the tinnitus worse by getting more stressed. So when you realize that stress brings on tinnitus, what you can do is go, hey, I hear the sounds of tinnitus coming up here, which means I need to chill out, I need to get more sleep, I need to relax more, I need to eat more good food, or whatever it is. You'll start to know what the things are that get you stressed and learn to relax. Use the tinnitus as an early warning system for stress. So you turn something that could be a problem into something that's useful for you. The way that I got to be able to do that is using meditation. So I would suggest to you that if you don't know how to meditate, you're going to have a very difficult time in controlling the mind to be able to focus on the sounds other than the tinnitus and put the tinnitus into the background. So if Eddie wants to, he can leave on the site here. I can leave a couple of recommendations of maybe audio to hear online that can get you started, but I recommend going to a place that teaches meditation somewhere near where you live. And that's the main thing that helped me really. Tinnitus doesn't have to be the end of your love of music. In fact, with a few small changes, you can enjoy it exactly the same way as you did before you got tinnitus, but you have to be smart about it. The first thing is wear earplugs wherever you can. Anywhere where there's a volume that's slightly above talking level, use earplugs. So anywhere, public place where they're playing music, I would put my earplugs in. It means learning to retrain your mind so that you're not focusing on the tinnitus. So make it something positive where it teaches you about your stress levels and how to deal with that. And also learn through something like meditation to reprogram the way that you hear sounds, to be able to put the sound in the background. And just relax as well. Just relaxing and not being stressed out about stuff. Stress really makes my tinnitus worse. Noticeably, that's probably worse than going into a loud club. So I don't know, I hope that helps. I mean, those were the way I experienced it, and now I live with it. I hardly even notice it, to be honest. And when I do, it's useful for me. It stops me getting stressed out. It stops me sitting in the studio for 12 hours in front of loudspeakers, and shows me an easier way to live my life, a better way to live my life. So that's my take on it, and I hope it's useful to you. And maybe Eddie will leave a contact email for me on the website, so if you've got any questions or anything, you can get hold of me. So yeah, peace out.